Welcome to doassignment-ca. Here is the problem. Plot and label each point on a coordinate plane. Then identify the quadrant or axis where each point is located. Part A at 3, 5. Part B at -4, 2. Part C at -1, -6. Part D at 7, -3. Part E at 0, 4. Part F at -5, 0. Now let us work through the solution step by step. Every point is written as an ordered pair x, y. The x value tells us how far to move left or right, and the y value tells us how far to move up or down. The two axes divide the plane into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is upper right, Quadrant 2 is upper left, Quadrant 3 is lower left, and Quadrant 4 is lower right. Any point sitting exactly on an axis does not belong to any quadrant. Here is the coordinate plane with all 6 points plotted. Point A is in the upper right area, point B is in the upper left, point C is in the lower left, point D is in the lower right, point E sits on the y-axis above the origin, and point F sits on the x-axis to the left of the origin. Point A has coordinates 3 and 5. Both values are positive. Positive x and positive y always place a point in Quadrant 1, the upper right region. Point B has a negative x value of -4, and a positive y value of 2. Negative x with positive y places the point in Quadrant 2, the upper left region. Point C has coordinates -1 and -6. Both values are negative. Negative x and negative y place the point in Quadrant 3, the lower left region. Point D has a positive x value of 7 and a negative y value of -3. Positive x with negative y places the point in Quadrant 4, the lower right region. Point E has an x value of exactly 0, which means it lies right on the y-axis. Points on an axis do not belong to any quadrant. Since y equals 4, which is positive, it sits on the positive y-axis. Point F has a y value of exactly 0, so it lies right on the x-axis. Because x equals -5, it is on the negative x-axis. Again, no quadrant applies. Here is the complete summary. Point A at 3, 5 is in Quadrant 1. Point B at -4, 2 is in Quadrant 2. Point C at -1, -6 is in Quadrant 3. Point D at 7, -3 is in Quadrant 4. Point E at 0, 4 is on the positive y-axis. And point F at -5, 0 is on the negative x-axis. Visit doassignment.ca for more study tools, AI learning support, and online tutoring.